Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. turns to sun rays, and on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
Eris's blink timing is going to be key. In this case, the Shaker's just a prominent role in the team fights that it really needs to find that decently timed blink just to bring space for that Medusa.
Go into the match, game number 1 between T1 and Signal Ultra. Set to begin. The bat, of course, is going to go into that safe lane as the Medusa. Just going to try and make sure he can get as much farm as possible. I believe they are definitely, yeah, they're going to send Jamesy into the mid lane as that Dazzle. You do still have some great harass potential out with that Poison Touch. If you are Jamesy up against the Kunkka, it's just the Tidebringer. You know, in your ring, hit so hard with that ability. Even though you do have some decent sustain there with the Dazzle, I get worried for Jamesy that it may not be enough.
Yeah, there's a lot there for the Dazzle that doesn't work quite into it. Like, his base damage isn't too great. You know, even the Kunkka can just pump around with the Tidebringer. I think the way the Dazzle scales in lane as well doesn't favor it in this case. It does have the sustain. The Shadow Wave should allow you to find farm. And as long as Kunkka's not, well, as long as you don't have the Tidebringer up, kind of force the Kunkka to think twice about going near the creep. So there is at least that going for GC.
It's going to be a 2-2 trade on the Belly Ruins. Standard start. T1 going to have Forev there down at the bot lane on that Prophet. Paulson going to be there on the Tusk. Jokam Miracle going to be up at the top lane. Because they'll be up against Man on that Beastmaster and Eris on the Earthshaker. Seems so much Earthshaker today. It's been really fantastic to watch. Here, making its way back to the meta.
Just really valuable. It's got that early roaming potential that we see players like Boomy and DJ Maxima. The investment into that early blink really pays off. It just scales really nicely beforehand, and that's really what you want now. You want early presence, but you don't want it to be too sacrificial, because the tendency is the off lane starts to give that space away.
Miracle. Miracle? Is string popping now. Eris, you might be confused.
What?
So he's creep popping him up now. Jokam, not enough. They will survive on 20 HP. Now Jokam will die.
What? Strange way for his first blood to go. With pre-aggro starting to show there, and both sides just kind of toying around with that just a bit. Eric's gonna be really happy the last it didn't kill him off. But that does put Miracle in a bit of a precarious spot, as he did have to expend, I believe, a Fairy Fire for that.
Yeah. It's an orthodox move to just stand there and kind of auto-attack. Grim finds it hilarious. Paulson trying to deal with this pool that's going on right now. The Signal Ultra side altogether look pretty happy. I don't think they're going to actually be able to slow down the bat too much in this safe lane Medusa. Like, you might get a couple denies off here with Forev Snakes' Prophet. Overall, I think you just understand that a bat is going to secure some decent enough farm.
Yeah.
It'd be more about the mid-game, I guess, and shutting her down.
Yeah, the hard thing about this lane for T1 is the fact that Paulson, in this situation, just level 1 tag team's not enough. Even the shards are not enough. You need a snowball to get in there, because you run the risk of Grims just stunning you up. So the combination with the Treants not quite going to be up until perhaps level 3. That's when Paulson should be able to commit to a heavier form of harassment.
Could always try to just go on Grims though, if you really wanted to, but I think Forev just wants to focus on ensuring he gets those denies and CSR. Doing a good job of it, currently sitting at 2nd in CS. First place is in your dream on that Kunkka. We look at James, he's trying to harass In Your Dream out, but he's really not too concerned. Turns around, swings his sword, just takes out half the HP of Jamesy. Real fight here. Poison touch will fly out. Get refreshed once. Jamesy will pop the salve as well. Your Dream, understanding all you really got to do is just walk away once that poison touch comes out and wait a couple of seconds until it does wear off, and you should be alright.
Yeah, it's definitely not too hard for IYD to just kind of stay there. He is out of regen, but just about has the gold for his bottle, so not going to be an issue for too long. Again, the one thing hurting IYD is the fact that,
It's starting to be there, both going to rotate in.
Oh, no.
Chance tag team, and it is very, very easy to secure the kill onto the Dazzle.
yeah, it's a bit greedy there, coming out from JMC to stick around a bit too long. Should have known that once you hit 4, X marks the spot is up. It's an easy setup for the kill. It's a nice punishment coming out from T1. You do finally see Paulson's rotation, and that does give him its level 3, so he's got level 1 Snowball up and running as well.
Top lane Van also goes down in that Beastmaster. Miracle and Joe Camp just really abusing the fact that he was left alone. Eris is currently in the mid lane. Jamesy is making choices to who's going to survive, I guess. Your Dream getting an X torrent, making sure he can secure that regen rune, and does get it. Although no, he does finally get it out of the bottle. Won't have quite enough damage to finish him off, so he will be able to regen back up to 4 HP full mana fairly easily. But for now, he does just salve. James will eventually cancel that salve as well, so he does pop the regen.
Yeah, and this movement down mid causing Ares to come down, which means that top lane Van is just alone. He can't do much.
Keeps dying. Your Dream could be in trouble now. Tries to get an X on Jamesy. He's safe. Go behind the T1, turn around. Paulson is going to be there as well. He'll activate the tag team with the great chance out. That T1 tower is doing so much damage to Jamesy. Eris will take aggro. Paulson is still going, however. They'll try to kill Your Dream before they die. Snowball out. Eris does actually get the kill, and now the shallow wave will actually save Eris from the Earthshaker. They do eventually get the trade thanks to Paulson on the task.
Yeah, I think Signal's still gonna be happy about that, because you do get the additional EXP on Jamesy. He was around to see that through, and he gets a bit more gold. So it does finally pay off that rotation mid. Whether or not that compensates for the very slow lane Van's having and the very good lane you're giving Miracle, I'm not entirely sure. Miracle's at level 5, Van's still at 3, and he can't really stop the Morphling anymore. It's just a bit too much with how he can juggle here.
Trying to pull off there, but Joe Camp's being a real nuisance here, disrupting any kind of pull to come out from Van. Miracle just going to have perfect creep equilibrium on his end of things thanks to Joe Camp. It's going to be free farm for him. We should have a look back at that. He's also essentially free farming right now on the Medusa. Getting his denies out from forever. It's not making too much of a difference here for a bat. But again, that Medusa, he's just got such a long time that he's got to farm up. But I'm not sure if this early CS really matters that much for a Medusa. Like, of course it does matter, but for Team 1, understanding you can't exactly stop this from happening, you may just accept it and move on. Like, Paulson is going to snowball in. There is no support right now for Abad, so he just has to try and keep beyond. It's a lot of damage, but not quite enough. But Forever now going to TP straight up to the top lane. They're going to try and secure a kill onto Grims, but he did actually have a Tango available at the time. Did eat his way through the tree line. Eris was there just in case.
It's a bit of unfortunate. Rotation doesn't pay off. They don't manage to find that pressure on Abbott, but in the end, T1 is still finding the gold here, and you know, you've really shut down Van. I think that's the big takeaway for Signal, that their Beastmaster is not up and running. There's not going to be a jungle for him to go back to because you've got the Medusa. That is just going to be soaking all the safe camps, and this just means Van's going to have a very slow start here.
Grims gonna get dived on now. Perev's still around the area. Now the tree blocks to come out. Grim should just tick out here. Joe Cam and done. Now, Ames is gonna rotate in. Joe Cam, he's gonna fall very, very low and does go down. Miracle would be a huge pick-off here for Signal Ultra. But he's, of course, just gonna win form out of there. But Era's still on the chase, gets another Fisher off. But Perev is gonna make sure that Morphin does stay alive. Now, they might have put it around. In Your Dream does throw a torrent. Era still trying to go. Miracle getting very, very low. In Your Dream does have a boat. He will throw the explode out onto Eris. His Earth should be.
What?
Does end up biting the Morphling.
Oh, Miracle was just out of HP. He had no strength to shift into anymore and just died to the poison tick.
Top lane. Try to get some farm in. We'll get punished for it.
Ooh.
Oh, now Dames has to be careful. He's trying to go after Paulson, taking a lot of damage, but he does have a haste through. Paulson will go down to the van balls that were still left over. So,
Oh man.
I mean, they can actually get a trade for it, I guess.
Yeah, I think this does favor Signal a bit. JMT's finding a lot of good kills, and while we leave that happening, Abba just farms freely bot, so Miracle is there to contest. So you do see the pause ones sizing up each other, but that just lets a bot TP away down to mid, find more farm. Surprising to me a while ago was that Abat was queuing up the Mantis first, but he does offer the Madness, although...
You might need that, man. We're going to come in with the end. Not Fisher.
Oh.
Errors though. Joe Diane, Bat is very low. Fred really wants to kill him. Does secure that. But he might fight for this. And he will. James picks up a double kill down the path.
Yeah, it's been a really good bounce back for JMT after that laning phase, and he... with the dazzles and oh man, Paulson.
Snowboard creepway should be fine. Still poison is going, so Paulson is taking a fair damage, but they will chase him on the one tower. It's not worth it. It's even Ultra sitting at 7 to 8. There is still a 2k net worth lead to the side of T1. But they're not looking too bad.
Yeah, they really aren't. I think that gold lead is down to Paulson's farm on the Tusk. He actually has a fair bit more than, say, even Eris. Beyond that, the cores are fairly matched up, except for Miracle, who has pulled out to 4k. So it's a substantial lead for him. There's still a lot of room for Signal to grow, and we have to temper aggression. There's only so much you can expect right now. T1 is starting to come online. You really only need Jocam 6 to be up and running, and basically the rotations will start coming out.
It seems that the T1 are going to start trying to pressure that bottom tier 2 and maybe try to get a cliff out of it. The Miracle probably should just back off to the jungle, but no, they're going to go after Eris. Great shards out. His shot, Eris is going to hold out for this. Wait for him in, and he will die. Joe Cam the one to pick up that kill on the Phoenix. The top lane Van, he is not safe. He thinks he's safe, but he's definitely not safe. X going to be there with a boat flying in Your Dream. Forever TP on the Prophet, and that is going to be another very, very easy pick-off for the side of Team 1.
But this is something Signal should have been ready for, considering how bad Van's lane went. He was going to have to dip into riskier jungle farm, because there's no safe farm with Abbott in this game. It's just the way it is with a Medusa. You have to give that space to the Medusa, and Van is just slowing down so much. This is really going to hurt the pace of Signal. Not only because their offlaner has no farm, but because Eris has to take the lead. So the blink timing on our Shaker, which is their only team fight, is gone, and Eris has to be careful where he walked. Jungle's not under their control.
At this point, I would give Eris the farm priority.
He should.
Quite literally, yeah, you really should. He's gonna have probably more with that blink echo, but back. It's a nice lure off. So try and figure his time away. Very quick on the swap. Very nice indeed.
Yeah, wouldn't close if they didn't find that one. Still worthwhile use for Roar, but they still maintain a 2k lead in T1. So while all of this aggression's breaking out, you're giving Miracle a free farm. He is farming a bit better than the Deuce, although you do see a nice catch up from our Deuce. Abbat is just 100 gold away now from the Morphling, so it's kicking in with that mom. The key thing is, Abbat cannot be caught outside. They have to draw a line with where he can farm. If he crosses it, it's risky. Like, wouldn't want to go near past the outlet. Because
it's a lot of damage, but there's not going to be enough follow-up to it. Nice spread out from Forever, making sure that Joe can remain safe from Dazzle. T1, 8 to 11 now. Chance to fly out now from the cast. That's a van. They really like picking on this Beastmaster, but he will have James around. Still Miracle now TP rather jumps in. The TP from Paulson is cancelled off. Miracle probably wishes he had that waveform right now. Swap in. That has forward a few seconds, but it's not going to be fast enough. They are just remaining grouped up on the side of Signal Ultra, not splitting up as there are strength in numbers. Gonna try and make a push happen through the mid lane.
yeah, I think this is the right way to play this draft. They have been giving Abbat a lot of space. Like, there's been no opportunity for T1 to actually hunt that DOTA down. So you're seeing Miracle dip out of the jungle when he shouldn't. Probably just stick to farming, Miracle. Just match the pace of the DOTA and everything will end up fine. Does look like he is going for a fast SNY, just trying to go for the right click build, which we have seen a few players opt for. Should pay off because again, you have the Shaker you could just morph into without investing in the eggs. You've got a lot of damage to access very early on.
This is exactly what Raven did against the
Yep.
Yeah, he literally is going the exact same build as Raven did. It worked. I don't quite blame him for doing that. It did work very nicely.
Oh, Eris?
Eris being trouble for Eris keeping it again. Eris being popped up completely. Doesn't look like a Fisher. Doesn't have anything like an Echo. We'll get rounded up. We'll go down. Still trying to farm towards that blink.
This isn't it for Signal. They just should not be in any situation where Abbat uses that Stone Gaze offensively. You just can't fight. You may use it to return, definitely not to take him away from farming. And this just delays his timing a bit. Of course, the support kills mean that T1 can clump up mid, and they can find out just to fortify out. There is a response, so Signal is clumping up.
Trying to take down Showcam. Van is looking for a target to rule. Doesn't quite get one. T1, they just dissipate. They just get out of there. No one can stick around too long. Can't quite blame.
Yeah. Not giving any opening towards Signal Ultra. T1 just plays it safe. Again, you look at Signal, I think the farm priority is just a bit wonky. They just need Eris to farm up. For the blink, maybe you can set up some plays afterwards. Before that, you really don't have many options here for the fights. It's really just a farm game for them. T1 can take control, and they have. They're the ones playing aggressive. They got a really good forward ward here on that bot jungle that they can use to spot some kills out.
Necro 3 now up on Van. At least he's caught up quite nicely on Beastmaster. They're coming up as well now onto Jamesy, so you've got a lot more sustain now on the side of Signal Ultra.
Yeah.
You can ask the question if T1 are playing fast enough this game. They've only found one T1 thus far. We are 16.5 minutes in. Abbat is still farming very nicely on that Medusa. Just don't know if they pulled far enough ahead on T1 to really call this a win.
No, it doesn't feel like it yet. Like, they do maintain a slight network lead, but you are right. They are lacking in objectives. I think T1 needs to try to shut that map down. They were taking control bot earlier, and they are back in that bot jungle. It's just that every time they do this, Signal knows to toss Abbat elsewhere. He's just farming safer on the low ground. You've got good distribution up top as well with Van and Jamesy pressuring the top tier too.
It's gonna take a boat. They'll swoop down this time, but no, the snowball there at the side. And now Grims might be in trouble. Shards don't really lock in with the credence to it. He puts the GG tree down at mid lane. Now going to be T1. They should be able to get this fairly easy, considering there are no support from the Signal Ultra trying to defend this.
Yeah,
They try to force in the top tower, and they do get the T2.
yeah, it's a favorable trade for Signal, even though they lose at mid tier 1. Still, a tier 2 being forced in, but Fortify is there. They've still got the numbers around that tower, though.
They do. Trying to force in that bottom tier 2 tower now, T1. It is a bit hard when a bat is there in front of that tower with that mat to mask a Manus up. So, they are going to back off again. S&Y now available there on Miracle. We see a Ethereal Blade to come out apparently. That is still the exact same, is it not?
Yep, that it is. It's a lot of value, because even if you don't burst the DOTA, it's a disarm. Although Abat does have the early mana, so he can dodge it or just purge off that disarm, which kind of takes a bit of that value away from Miracle. It's like an issue of timing. Is, you know, it's still going to be good to pick off the supports. None of them are particularly tanky. And really, Signal, they're just farming together, trying to find that gold. I think with Van, with the Necronomicon trees, means that Eris should definitely get that space. He's so close to the blink, like 500 gold away. Just give him that space he needs. T1 is using this space pretty nicely as well. He's had that Urn of Shadows for a while, is going into the blink, so he can make those saving plays with the Tusk on anyone that they roar up. This makes it harder for Signal to commit, and T1, they know they're ahead. They go straight to the pit.
Well, gonna be Roar as well. It's not joking. But now that the Phoenix available, he's a single. They want to try and take this fight. They don't put holes, so don't fly in them. Okay, the great fish around from Eris just blocking the exit. T1 have nowhere to go. They'll be chased down now. Van will try and block up into the green. Not going to be able to take that much damage, and also will die in Eris. Another fish now taken there by the Morphling. But they're going to go for that Roshan.
Yeah, this is a huge opening for Signal. They have to watch out though. T1 still has the egg. They're not going to let this one go for free.
Definitely not. Fire Spirits will fly in. There'll be a bit of vision there for T1. He's got the waveform available on Miracle. He's just waiting for a wave, but Dream's time to mark. But now the Eagle Fiber won't be enough. They did actually get the Roshan. But the Aegis does go to a bat. Jocam now just try and run away, but Eris will have the Fisher up in just a second. Putting out, but it does get it out. And now they will kill off Jocam. Great little play there from Signal Ultra.
Yeah, it's all on the back of Eris, getting that really great block. That gave them the trap up they needed. A bit messy from T1. The fact that they lost their Phoenix really early with that swap meant that they had no egg, but they found the Aegis anyway.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh boy.
They do have a swap there on Grims, so get a bat out of there. Mantra as well. Grims will just die quickly. So the Aegis has just gone to waste. Apparently they didn't have much of a problem getting through the HP pool that Medusa.
No, it's not that. It's not that point yet where he's tanky. So the punishment is still there, and Abat does switch up his items. Does want the BKB first, so just wants to be able to stand and fight now. This game is stalling out though. Like Jamesy is approaching that level 18 mark. And that's when sustain the Dazzle brings gets a bit wacky. You know, 20-second Guardian Greaves once more. That's going to be enough to keep their team alive for a long time.
T1. Still waiting for that shotgun from Miracle. Trying to farm it up ASAP. He just needs the Eagle Song now.
Yeah, I think the The other things to watch out for is the disarm up and running on IYD, so they can isolate that, although then...
Caught out, Sunray in there with the boat. It's just going to be a very, very easy pickup again for T1. I mean, by this point though, Van's died so many times already, it's like you're really shutting him down any more than he has been.
No.
Now, at Grim, they don't want the bench. They want a bat or the dazzle. Bot tier 2 tower going to be under siege now from T1. Glyph is going to be forced out from Signal Ultra.
Has that ever been cause for celebration? Fire's new power for attack.
They do have the Ethereal Blade up now though, Miracle. So, got plenty of damage available right now on T1. You'd imagine they want to try and go for some kind of smoke attempt and surprise the side of Signal Ultra.
Yeah.
But you do have that BKB coming up now on the bat. It's just on the courier. And a bat is going to set up for that T1 mid tower. Smoke right behind him.
Yeah, it's going
It
to
would
be...
be a very hard T1 to take.
No.
Let's get next up.
Oh.
Means the swamp market in your green hole. People jumps in. Snowball back towards their own side of the base. And now it's coming up. Oh, as well. Error is setting up. Joecamp's going to go down. The boat flies in. A bat is one low on ladder, but not on HP. Greenpool guy as well. Miracle will take care of that one. Now the dive in again from Joecamp. The Signal Ultra is backing. A bat getting caught with that X, getting charged up. Now the edge, yes, no matter. Elevate is there. James is trying to delay things the best he can, but it will not matter. A bat has been abandoned, and now, of course, it will be a team trying to run fans on. He did. And Eris is also going to get chased up. It's got the illusion room, but Fire Spirit's going to land. Crowd is there, and that would mean an ultra kill coming out for Miracle. The only man to walk out of that was Jamesy.
Yeah, that was a bit topsy-turvy from Signal. They allowed the snowball to go off, which costed him. The Stone Gaze didn't give them as much as possible because of that snowball save. Paulson was on point in delaying that fight out, and Signal just fell apart after that. And they couldn't really get the control out, especially with that BKB on Abad. So that investment hasn't quite paid off, and T1 again looking a lot stronger. A lot of factors at play as well. Like Forever's had that Crimson Guard up and running. It just mitigates all of this damage coming out. Like the Medusa just kind of tickles for the most part. It's not amazing damage just yet. With all of these defensive item buildups, you're gonna need pickups to overcome that and really start to pump it out. I think the Aura strat needs a little bit more work here. Just some items to fly out. You don't really have all too many. Like, no one has a Dominator for added Aura there, so you're missing out on the value, and that does take away from the presence of a bat. I think at this point, you just have a bat, try to build towards his level 18, level 20 even for the town. Just having that, either the duration or the Mystic Snake for sustain, is going to help massively. But before that, he's just not big enough.
Runs up, Miracle. Gonna wait for him away. Aristos gets Fisher up on Joecamp, but he will Icarus sign. Signal Ultra feeling confident now to really start walking up to the side of T1. That's queued up that Eye of Skadi as well, so one of those extra stats up, and of course, if you're lacking damage later on, you can always just put that Divine Rapier. The UTMC very, very popular on the Medusa. Sure will, when it comes to it as well. Like, you kind of have to, because the Medusa does tend to lack so much damage.
Yeah, it's not the most impressive build-up for Abad. It has been, I mean, he's still in top net worth. It's just not a substantial lead over Miracle, and that just means the damage output's not as great. Of course, T1 still maintain a 5k lead. They are still building up. Forev is going to have his own disarm very soon. Just lacks about 300 gold for the talisman. If you've already had that on IYD as well. So multiple Heaven's Halberds making an appearance once more. Just stop the Medusa from really doing anything. That's always going to be an issue for Abbott. There's only so long you have with a BKB. So there's always a window there for T1 to take. And even Paulson saving up for a Heaven's Halberd as well. So they want 3 halberds on hand.
With a few help. Bottom lane's going to be pushed in by Signal Ultra. The T1 will basically do the same thing up the top lane. It's just going to go mirror the side of Signal Ultra. Miracle's actually switched out the Eye of Scarlet here. Initially queued and is going for a Satanic now. That's really going to be countered quite nicely by the Eye of Scarlet coming up from the back.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that one. They still need an aura item to stop the regen, just to help them out. Because again, you can't underestimate the Dazzle. He just has so much sustain once you hit 18. And you're just about half a level away here for Jamesy till he gets to that point.
T1 top goes down. T1 bot was lifted by the side of T1. They get the tower, but now they may feel the need to try and defend that top tier 2. They do bring in errors on that Earthshaker. Of course, a bat will happily TP right in front of that tier 2. D1 for now just don't want to deal with it.
I think that's fair. They don't need to fight. They just can play that stall game. They immediately smoke down the hill as well. They're gonna turn around here, perhaps.
They can. They've got an AC up now in Your Dream as well. Very nice item pick up. Bad. Gonna break the smoke of Miracle. But T1 has actually just ran away. Smoke is still active, so they do have time. Looks like they're just going to secure that double damage rune there for the Morphling. And pull that up. Perhaps T1 just wait for that Satanic to be ready to go.
Yeah, no rush for T1. I think they feel pretty confident with what they have, with the answers they have on hand, with all the disarms they're building up. It's just going to be really tricky for Signal to make use of Medusa. They have a great sustain, yeah, but again, the fact is that Abad is just very vulnerable right now. Really just need to hit 20, even 25, right? Like you really just want your mana or the Saudi flying out on everyone, and it's going to be a while until Abad hits that point.
Signal just going to keep playing the farm game. I'm going to start going in here, the back again. Can have his team smoked up right behind him. Trying to breach that high ground, but the smoke is going to be broken. Now they'll realize they aren't there. Fisher not going to pick onto Joe. It's going to be left alone.
Yeah, it's not quite the smoke rotation they were looking for. Gave away a free kill, but as long as Abad's not dead, you're kind of happy with that, and just back to farming it is. It's T1's turn to smoke up.
T1's going to start rotating towards that top, Jamesy. Now the sun ray is flying up as well. The back is going to get celebrate but now the egg is there. They're going to try after Miracle. No, it was normally trying to help out Van, but Van is going to die. Now the egg explodes.
Oh, what?
Eric, that wasn't it. And Bat, he TP's up. Sharks, reset, Eric for it. Doesn't want it. Now the Warriors punch from Paulson.
Yikes. That's... Maybe the blink got cancelled when he was trying to blink in? I think that's the only real explanation.
I guess that was it.
That's really painful for Signal. They lose a lot. As well. There is a cheese. Jogan picked it up. So T1 have all the tools in the world now. They can start to take over. It's a 9k advantage. 31 minutes in. And at this point, your Medusa's most certainly not ready for this high ground defense. Not quite yet, although. Is that Scotty flying out? I don't think the courier should be going this close outside. But gotta be careful. There you go.
Okay, he does have the eye of Scotty up now. T1 though with the Aegis and Satanic up on Miracle should be feeling confident to go in. There's only 2 buybacks on the map right now. Literally only going to be Forever and In Your Dream. Everyone else doesn't really have enough hold, but Van will have him in seconds. Back over, go camp, snowball, down Miracle, jump straight onto a battle. A lot of damage. Egg is there as well. They need to focus that exit. We'll take it in. Maybe now T1 ends up losing this fight. Forever's in trouble. The space is throughout from errors. Still they can't do what they're doing for. Maybe they can. They'll turn around now. Cheers, the man on left. James, you can try to run back, but he's been next up. He will die in a bat. Will also probably die here as the chance. Flying up. They don't have a lockdown. No, they do. The torrent will connect on both. It'll be an ultra kill coming up for Miracle. And it's a full team wipe for the time of T1. And I thought after they got the egg off, it would be enough. Wasn't the case, John. Just wasn't the case.
It's all really starting to crumble for Signal. Their execution is just not quite up there. They were fighting without the slam, so it is up and running now. And Eris, whether or not that's enough is a different question, as their tier 3s are just going to melt and they're probably just going to lose a rack.
I think more than one here.
Oh,
you
for
have
sure.
Tier 2 mid tower. You do have the tier 2 top tower, but Forever's going to go take care of that. So this will be 2 racks that's going down here for Signal. They are going to try and loop towards that top lane. Very cool. Okay. Now another
Yeah. Number 3 is up. Paulson does find the farm, and man, that was causing too many issues for Bat. He's just not going to be able to right click even when he does. When Forev's alive, guard, there's no damage. It's just so slow for Abbott. It's just not enough, and gonna have to try to defend though.
Save and Miracle is going to take a bit of damage. That started making an army of Miracle. He just uses the Satanic. Just tanks all the damage. He literally doesn't do enough. Now he's going to around the back. It's just a mad fight. They're just mad fighting right now. Torrent's going to come out now from In Your Dream. And he is just going to take the big backs in front of him.
Just like that, Mega Creeps come out for T1. They pull back. They've got the lead, 25k advantage, 16 to 31. And you look at Abat, he's just queuing up the Divine. There's no choice. You have to go Divine. Is it going to come out before the game ends? That's a different question. T1, they've still got tools to play with. They've got the Aegis for about a minute. So there's a minute there where they can just risk it and just force a big fight and put the lid on this game.
Well, Bat's free to start as well, so 3 minutes at least. I'm gonna have a pause, another disconnection flying out. This time down the DC. T1 probably don't want to give them enough time to get to that point. Have the Divine up. Miracle's still got the Aegis up, so I think he's more than happy to just keep going.
Yeah, they've got about a minute on that, so no worries. Just risk it. There you go.
Okay,
2 bounties.
2 bounties on Eris. Do they go though? Still just waiting around, waiting for that initiation. More, but no, they're just waiting on the bounties. They're just waiting. on the bounties. Look at Miracle. He's just agi-morphing constantly as a warning to Eris. Almost. It's just like, hey, I'm full agi right now, sir. Don't tempt me.
This is just... Eris is just in the fountain. He's not even going out.
He knows what they're doing.
Oh no. Oh, there's the Aegis.
Miracle. Suddenly gonna turn that agi-morph on. They can still try. Slowly chipping away at this tier 4 tower. Really creep. Do hit very hard, those Megas. Taro flat on the back. They won't initiate quite yet. Miracle taking that tier 4 tower so quick. Now the Ancient is going to be exposed.
Radiant's Ancient is under attack. Someone had better do something.
And he's going to go in for it. No, wait for it. Back line, Grim's is going to die. No swaps coming up. He will buy back immediately. A bad Stonegate's not doing much. Miracle going to stare at him. No, we'll turn around. We'll be fine. Now that thing's a guard again, just making it so a bat does no damage. Starts perfect. Oh, that totally huge echo. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. They claim all the bounties. It's a water park now.
Oh, Signal. To look back at that game 1 and really fix up their draft. He won. They had their way with him. Some of that was drafting issue. They just could not execute this Medusa draft.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the
5 seconds remaining. Radiant team ban.
I should have seen that one coming.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. 13 ban. Ten seconds remaining. Radiant team, pick. Dire team, pick.
Imba Spirit.
Our second game of this best of two. Our cameras weren't working, John, but now they are. So, I'll switch to that.
10 seconds remaining.
Hello, Mike. Doing well. That last match, of course,
5 seconds
we saw
remaining.
T1 pull ahead. We saw Miracle have a good game on that Morphling. It's a hero he's very comfy with, and Signal, they tried to do the Medusa. It didn't quite work out. I think they really just shafted Van's lane a bit too hard. They had no mid-game momentum because Van wasn't online. Eris just took too long on the blink, and they lost map control way too early. So not the best showing from Signal. We'll see whether or not they shake that up. There is already the opening picks.
Radiant team,
T1,
pick.
they did start out with the Ember Spirit that we've seen time and time and again. Really popular pick, of course, lots of flexibility. But Signal Ultra, they get to pick the Shaker and they get to pick the Morphling. So they go back to the basic combination of that. Whether or not it will pay off, we'll find out.
I like the fact that you got ES Morph. I'm not against that at all. I don't like the fact that the Morph
10
is second
seconds
pick, though.
remaining.
That's my issue with that opening. It is picking
5
to an Ember
seconds
Spirit, so you have a natural Spirit Vessel carrier there on T1 as well, which isn't going to help that cause at all.
No.
But it's going to give plenty of counter potential here from T1. Try and get something to do with the Morphling in this game. See if Signal Ultra can make this work.
Yeah.
Not really sure about second picking it, that's all.
Leaves it really exposed to counter picks. Like, for example, the AA's not banned out. T1 can easily go into it. It's not too bad.
Radiant team
Into the Ember Spirit as well. So yeah, there you go. AA comes out. Why not? You didn't ban it out. And we're asking for this AA to be picked.
Yeah, that Ice Blast is going to make it very, very hard for the more.
Dire team ban.
So they have a Vessel and an Ice Blast. Signal Ultra, I'm not really
Dire
sure
team
what their game plan is now that the AA is there. We'll see if Clockwork ban out from them and T1 ban out the next profit themselves. Which generally means Forever's probably going to take better man, so to make matters even worse for Signal
Pretty
Ultra.
much. Pretty much. I mean, that's, again, a comfort pick for Forev. We've seen that since Genesis, since a long time ago. Forev just
10
plays that
seconds
hero a lot.
remaining.
And T1's one new teams that still goes back to
5
it.
seconds
So
remaining.
it fits in, it's a morphling, you can make that happen. So, as for, say, the Witch Doctor that we've seen in response to that Veno, it's just that Doctor will not stop the AA cast from being an issue. So even if the Venomancer is counteracted, AA is never going to be counteracted in this case.
Not. You don't really need the Veno in all the AA there.
Yeah.
I think people probably just take it just because they like running the Veno. It's just your secondary option in case your AA is dead and doesn't get the Ice Bomb on time.
Yeah,
Still, Signal Ultra
pretty
gonna
much.
have a deep think about this third pick. What they go into next, but again, they already understand how hard this opening is gonna be to deal with from T1.
Yeah. They've drafted themselves into this point. So,
Radiant team.
you know, you still need to build up. This doesn't reveal too much. They take the Phoenix. That Phoenix we've been seeing a lot of teams go for is on Signal side. So they have the team fight potential coming out here. They've got the healing stain as long as the blast that isn't on top of anyone. So you have that option. The lane of the Phoenix tends to go pretty good for the most part. The
10
harassment
seconds
it brings
remaining.
is pretty nice. So you do have that going for you here on Signal.
5
The team
seconds
fight's looking
remaining.
pretty tied up. It's just that, well, the stain is still an issue. So Phoenix Sunray probably not going to be as great in this case, especially if the blast lands.
It's true. I think they just wanted to deny it off the side of T1, though in all fairness, T1 generally runs that POS 5 Phoenix, not the POS 4 very often. Does still come out at times, but usually they'll give Paulson another
Dire
kind of
team pick.
fighting POS 4 that doesn't really rely on just spamming egg, but Mage comes out now from T1. That one I wasn't expecting. I don't know what the
Radiant
point of
team
Skyrath is here. Signal Ultra, they'll go straight into the Legion Commander now, so denying that off for it, but now I see the reason why they may have wanted that Skyrath. The Skyrath LC combo would have been pretty deadly for the side of T1 to run. Did Signal Ultra just choose that for the sake of not giving it to T1?
Honestly, I think that's the case. I don't
10
think they
seconds
wanted to
remaining.
necessarily pick it for themselves. It does. They can get the
Dire
team
team
a
back.
decent duel off, and it's still great control. I mean, you still have this combo, right? Like, the Sky's there. Call into the Mystic Flare is still stupidly strong. So you've got that combination up, and I think even the Sky in this case, the silence is going to cause issues for that morph.
Radiant team
So there's a lot of
back.
value here for T1. It's just shaping up to be a really strong, really aggressive draft.
Yeah, I do like it. Signal Ultra, I'm kind of curious as to how they finish this draft off now. They do need a mid pick up here in that mid lane. For now, it does appear they will be up against Ember. So they could throw that Ember safe lane as
10
well if they
seconds
really want to.
remaining.
So it shouldn't be too hard for Signal Ultra to try and pick
5
up something that
seconds
does
remaining.
well up against the Ember.
Radiant
They
team.
will have to wait out one more ban, and surprisingly enough, they banned out the Monkey King, which would have been good against the Ember. And
Yeah.
T1 banned out the Queen of Pain.
Yeah, the monkey one is a bit strange. I think when you have the Phoenix, you do actually like having the monkey, so them banning it out is less than ideal. I think actually Signal would have liked that a
10
bit more,
seconds remaining.
just to play into their wombo combo. So not having that
5
option
seconds
does kind of hurt. I don't think T1 was interested in that. As you mentioned, it does feel like it is still flexible with the Ember, although it doesn't quite strike me as a miracle hero. I think there are options available for
Dire
him.
team pick.
Maybe the Spectre if they wanted to. They go with the Ursa. So that's still a highly aggressive pause 1. There's not too much to kite it around here. To be fair, like, it's just a Shaker you're worried about. So it should be a fairly easy time to run around. And I think the draft here from T1 is tied up nicely. It's aggressive from the get-go. You don't need to wait for any sort of farm build up here.
10 seconds
Signal,
remaining.
you kind of have a timer with a Morphling where it has to get that space,
5
it
seconds
has to find that
remaining.
early farm into whatever goes first, maybe the shotgun in this case, or just the right-click build for the with a Shaker. But it takes time. And no matter what they pick in the end here, I think even if you play fast, you're constrained to the Echo and the Egg. Whereas T1, once you have a blink on the Axe, and even just an Urn, you're active on the map.
Ultra, they need one last pick to finish this off. They need to finish it strong. You could go for something like a mid Pugna if you really want up against the Ursa. Does work decently with the Morphling. Whether it won't really beat out the Ember mid though, that's partially the problem with it.
Maybe some value in an OD here if they did. Nah, they go with the Venomancer themselves. So that gives them some early aggression. Their team fight's looking pretty darn good, at least in the early game before BKBs fly out. Of course, my biggest issue with Venomancer, and I think we see it at the time, is if you don't shut down in the early game, if you don't shut down the enemy team in the early game, BKBs fly out and Venomancer just stops being relevant. You know, the damage output is... the control he has is negligible, and it tapers off hard. So we'll see how much James he can get done down mid. That can be a bit of a hard time for the Ember in the first 3 levels, maybe even the first 4 levels. But past that point, James he really has to find something early.
A very, very scary game for Signal Ultra. We can all agree this is looking good for T1, but they have gone a bit left field with this draft as well. You're not used to seeing the Axe Skywrath Mage come out from T1, or any team for that matter. Bit hard to know how this is going to work. Of course, I know the combination's very, very strong. Whether they're actually going to make it work up against the draft of Signal Ultra. Then again, like, up against the mid Veno, I don't know. It just doesn't make me feel very confident.
Nah, I mean, that's always going to be a tough lane for IYD. I think you've got to accept that. But beyond that, I just don't know if Signal can carry the mid game. See, it's like the laning phase is pretty decent. We talk about the Shaker, we talk about the Phoenix. We know how much those two can get done in the laning phase. I just worry about that momentum. Is Signal kind of show those issues there where that shut down, but couldn't get ahead enough to maximize his core, and the timing of the Morphling is just be up and running early in this case, and Signal has to fix everything that happened in game 1. It's all about execution this time.
You're gonna need a lot of that execution. What is... Do you know what that means, John?
No, it looks like Filipino, sounds like Filipino, but I don't know what he means by baki so bitin. Like, bitin is like, it's lacking, but I don't know what bakihan man. Oh, it's anime.
Dude,
I see.
I watched
What
that
anime is that?
That's Baki
Which
on
one?
Netflix.
Baki on Netflix, I see, okay. I don't know.
Terrible.
It's terrible. You should have replied. You should have told them it's terrible. See what happens to you. They'll end up fighting you in the caster seat.
Part 3 came out and just sucks, in all honesty. I was actually gonna tweet this out the other day. It just sucks.
Well, you should tweet at Abad. He seems to be looking forward to it. Let him know about your thoughts. Yeah.
Oh, poor Abad. He doesn't know yet. Poor guy doesn't know how bad season 3 is. Oh well, we won't tell him. He'll find out the hard way. It's one of the only animes I actually watch. I'm sure you'd call that a casual anime, John, as well.
Well, I don't even know. No, Netflix has good choices. You make it sound like Netflix is bad. They tend to have good choices. Like Violet Evergarden is so good. I'm so glad that we're the one.
30 seconds.
I got to watch it as it released. So that was nice. That's something you wouldn't watch. I'm sure you'd find that boring.
Is this on?
Unless...
You
did
you?
I don't remember you actually watching it. There you go. Well, okay. Thank you. I'm vindicated.
I'd never admit on stream proudly that I've watched Violet Evergarden though. Like you were just out there saying, "Hey guys, there's this great anime about a girl writing letters to people." It was not very action-packed, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but it's a great journey, just like a Dota 2 game. It's a great test of your psyche, and we begin, Mike. Looks like it's gonna be an even trade in runes. Miracle's really far forward, and he's copying a lot of damage from Jamesy. This not gonna be nice for him. Gonna have to eat through those early tangos fast.
Grims, Icarus dive away, Van. I'm gonna get blocked here by Joe Camp. Takes a bit of harass on the way to the lane. Sure, Joe Cam will probably back off the bot lane where he will be there to support Miracle on the Ursa. James, he's gonna have, work pretty hard to make sure that Miracle doesn't have a good game this time around as well on this Ursa. We did have a bit of a bonus there, as I believe we did have Eris once again double blocking that wave for the Dire side, which does give Jamesy a bit of a level advantage. But now with this double creep wave, of course, they are going to push out towards Miracle's T1 tower, and he's going to get plenty of farm out of this.
Yeah, there's really not much you can expect from James. He's just copying a lot. It takes a few levels for that Veno to really kick in. I'd say level 3 is when you're starting to see it really be nice, and well, it'll just take a while. At least Eris is out of lane enough that Jamesy will find that.
Top lane as well, Forever's seemingly having a very nice time. Like, Forever goes for the creep skip here up against DLC. Van will be fine to farm underneath that tier 1 tower, but they won't be able to actually stop Forever from just getting every single creep kill by just skipping that wave. You could make the argument maybe Grims could try and stop it, but up against the Skywrath Mage, who's so powerful in the laning phase, even more so than the Phoenix, I don't think Grims can.
No, that's really tricky, and this should give Forever a lot more in this lane than he should be getting, but I don't know, it's tricky for Van. I think that's my one worry. We saw him start slow last time. He's going to be last hitting under his tower, which is alright, but he's really not going to be punishing Forev. And well, Forev would farm on the axe, does mean you'll probably see an early blink. And once you have the blink, well, it's really easy to get the blink Mystic Flare combo, although Paulson should be careful with the tower. He has 0 armor if he's going to dive the tier 2s.
Mid lane as well, one thing we haven't talked about, it is the Morphling versus the Ember. The whole map for Miracle bounces drop, and they do get it. They tried to go for the deny there with Joe Cam, but he wasn't able to get the attack out in time, and now Eris won't be willing to dive all the way for that kill. Joe Cam should be able to walk out, but Eris is trying to loop around. No, Joe Cam will salve up and be able to remain in the laning phase.
Dire's top tower is
Nice pick up there, though. You kill off that pulse one Ursa. That's gonna be a good feeling.
Definitely is. I think the one issue for T1 is, every single time we've seen the Veno, we have always seen the Witch Doctor in response. This time you don't have that early laning sustain to counteract the DOT, so it just gets a bit harder for Miracle to continuously sustain himself from this damage.
Rev gonna chase down Grims, but Grims does die, or not die, but dive. Does get away. Forever's still dominating this lane very nicely though. Like, look at this, he's just pulling 2 creep waves over the small cap.
Oh.
So much farm. Loaded right now.
Yeah, there is no stopping this axe, and that's a big worry. I don't think Miracle's early farm is going to be too important, but Forev's is. Again, that blink timing, or even just a fast Vanguard, takes away a lot of the potency of Signal's draft. They're going to have a very hard time matching this axe, this outfit.
Joe Camp going to end up going down Miracle, trying to go for the kill on the Jamesy, and we'll be able to find it. Get the Earth Shock there to really just slow this Venomancer down. Mid lane is falling low as well. Paulson is just going at it with this Morphling. You do have a lot of magic burst there from Paulson, so you won't really want to risk trying to fight the Skywrath right now if you are a bat. Go back into the lane yourself. So it's a bit concerning when your dream is finding a substantial amount of farm here without really being punished at all.
Yeah, this lane matchup is working out for him quite well. Abat, he's not slowing down IYD, he's not finding the best farm as well in comparison. And the Morphlink's early farm, again, is a sensitive timing.
Bot lane, Jokan does end up dying once again. Oh, excuse me, getting the kill. James is the one to die. Now, Venomancer, that is the second death of the game for that Venom. They're obviously trying to apply that pressure onto the Ursa. It just hasn't been working out as well as they would have hoped. Make matters worse, Eris will miss out on a bounty rune, and that'll actually be 4 bounty runes going to the way of T1.
It's gonna be, again, a nice little boon for them, and Grims just steps a bit too far.
Oh, Grims.
That's good.
Dire's bottom tower is under
What's
attack.
he doing there?
I think he wanted to contest runes, maybe. Dove a bit too far, and you look at that. 4Ev at this point just goes up for calls, gets spins. He's so far ahead in this. 42-2. This is Axe at its freest, and there's just no solution to that.
Well, Miracle does go down bot lane again. Eris does pick off that kill. But I do agree that Forever's gotten way too much farm in this top lane.
I mean, he's at 6 minutes in. Van is as well. It's just that to get that duel successful, you need backup. For the Axe, he doesn't need anything. He just needs to run up.
Bat ends up going down in the mid lane. In Your Dream does pick up the kill. Paulson was around to help set up, and they had that level 1 Ancient Seal, so the silence can be quite devastating for this Morphling. Of course, when you kind of combo that with the magic damage output of In Your Dream, it isn't too hard to imagine how the Morphling dies.
Yeah, it's relatively simple for T1, and they are starting to pull it severely ahead. A 3K advantage now, 6.5 minutes in, and CIGNAL still needs to find a solution. They really sacked that top lane for Van. I mean, he's not doing as bad as game 1, but I think the biggest issue is that 4Ev is just going too deep.
James is gonna die. It was a nice Fisher attempt to try and stop Miracle from pushing him down, but now In Your Dream, just gonna remnant forward onto the high ground, trying to find Eris, and well, he will spot him out. He's underneath the T1 tower though, so you don't really want to risk going there, but now they'll go onto a bat instead. He does strength more square off the bat. Paulson holding on to that Ancient Seal.
Middle tower is under attack.
He won't bother throwing it out onto the Morph in the end, but top lane,
has been
Forever to find Van's career. Now that he's surrounded, however, they will do him up surely soon. Down, Bishop is there, actually spinning quite a bit, but ultimately will end up going down. Van will pick up his first duel win of the game.
Good little pickup that does cost a lot of rotations in. So it frees up the mid, it frees up the bot lane. Miracle now is actually farming a lot better. He's died twice, but it's still more farm on this Ursa than you see on Abat, and that's going to cause issues. It just means his timing is going to be better. Even if you found that kill on 4Ev, I think this is his job. He's so far ahead that you have to commit all these heroes up top to find a space in the side lanes. Look at Jamesy, he's still stuck at 5 on that Venomancer from his own offlane. So CIGNAL need to slow down a bit. Maybe it's time to rotate the bot to the jungle, but he doesn't have the Morbid Mask up and running just yet.
James getting dived right now. Eris does save him with the Fisher. James, he just can't catch a break this game on that Venom. Jokan going to be around there on the AA as well. They really just want to keep dominating this top lane. Red's going to have a very, very early blink up if this keeps up. Eris shows himself for a second and he's just going to get run down. Gets dunked on by Forever.
Yeah, it's yeah, you can't really be isolated like that anymore. I'd say top lane, just sack it. No need to show up, arm to really be had anymore. Better off focusing elsewhere, and Van is getting dived. He has the purge off to get the slow. Miracle is, again, on a runaway start. Down bot, just left alone to farm up.
It's a concern. At least for them, about is on top of the net worth board. And, well, he was ahead of the Ursa. Now Miracle's pulled ahead on that instead. Mid lane, they do end up killing off Grim from the Phoenix.
Amount of stress.
It's fighting pickoffs everywhere. It's not even close right now. They do see the lead for 4k net worth for the side of T1. Everything is that mid lane stance is going to be done, but that ends up going down. They will try to get Pulse, but no, they can't even get that. Now Van gets jumped on. He will purge off the chains, but in your dream is blocking. Forever, he connects. He comes in with the poison over. He just gets blown up. He's still trying. Full is there on Joe. Can they win that one? But T1 is still willing to try and fight. Forever now falling lower. Great Fisher out. That'll be a secondary kill for Van. And now, maybe in your dream, you can commit the echo. Cancel that TP. And Van will find a double kill.
Tower is under attack. I feel like a broken record.
Bit of a mess up in that dire jungle. Ultimately, though, favoring Signal Ultra, once that poison over flew out, it was just too much damage over time to deal with.
Yeah, T1 just getting a bit overconfident there and gets punished hard. They need to be careful about forcing fights like that. Signal does have damage output. You know, the Venomancer is still strong. We're still 10 minutes in. It's still really, really potent, and it's not like Forev is going for an early pipe here, so you're not going to be mitigating that damage anytime soon. You look at the bot, trying to clear out stacks, really aggressive far forward, but Forev should just be able to find the rest of it.
And should places the GG tree as soon as he picks it up as well. Now Bat comes back in, going for those bigger creeps, but he comes in your dream.
Sorry,
This will give Forev his gold now to pick up that Blink Dagger. It's not so often you see the Blink rush anymore, but I guess when you have the Skyrat players with you want to just get that early Blink off to be able to get those calls off, to be able to just use that ultimate of the Skyrat. To be able to secure quick kills.
Yeah, it's all about that momentum here for T1. They don't want to give Signal space. The Blink will enable them to really play aggressive. It's not like they haven't, but it allows them much more clear kills to come out, and you can already see them clumping up top. About 5 heroes in that general area. The Miracle is going to lead, but it should still be a secure T1.
Dire's top tower is
Probably going to go
under
hunt.
attack
Buck is out.
Nobody's business.
We're going to get that surprise Blink reveal.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
T1 top does go down very easily in your dream. They obviously want to go after a bat on that Morphling, and I think they may have spotted him, but no. Running down bot, they could go after James Young. They're going to loop around, get that dive down, the calls off come out. It's really that easy. No Ice Blast necessary, and now Grims may need to be very careful where he positions himself, but he will dive away. Losing that mid Morphling, not going to feel good. In fact, in your dream, he does get the Phoenix. Grims does get caught out by that Ember, and they could try to move into that mid T1 tower if they want.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, nothing to stop them without that Phoenix up. It is harder to commit to the fight. You do have Eris and Van around, but being a bit cautious. There is a blink on Van. They have a way of gap closing, but again, T1 this early on are feeling a bit too ahead. Abbott is making distance though.
They do with the echo, they do secure the jewel. The rest of T1 will back out. It's a nice kill there on Forev. Signal Ultra now going to try from corner. You actually get the chains off on him himself in your dream. Slide bit will be there, remnant back out towards the west side of that T1.
Structures are not only fortified, they are positively glowing.
They're just willing to fight right now, Signal. You might need to just continue focusing on getting a bat farm though.
Yeah, for sure. He's really not quite up and running yet. Does have 3 Wraith Bands and of course the Morbid Mask for the jungle, but the Manta is going to help massively. Once that's up, you can at least purge off the silence, which is really what's ruining them, although
That's going to happen a lot.
it really will.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be. I don't think they should actually waste Jokam's Ice Blast there. It's pointless. They just melt. Maybe if you're up against the Morphling, maybe, but for anyone else, that's just an insta kill. You might as well save the mana in case another engagement breaks out elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Even with the Morphling, in most cases he's going to be Agimorphed anyway if you get the call off in time. They're still trying to push in that mid-tier 1 tower. James is going to be there to just put playboards down and defend. Van, going to be in the smoke right now, does have the blink up on the LC. Signal. Assuming this tier 1 tower is going to be pushed in, but tier 1 seem to know what's going on and just waiting. I think Signal may have mistimed that a little bit.
Middle tower is
as the bounty rooms did spawn up and they kind of just forgot about the bottom ones till now.
Oh, it's not quite the smoke they were looking for. Would have been nice to keep isolating T1. I mean, you look at T1, they are ahead by 5k, but Miracle is actually just saving for a Battle Fury, so it's a slower game for the Ursa. Gonna go for more farm, and the damage will be nice once it's up, but again, it's just very slow build-up because of how aggressive T1 is. Would have been a good point to punish. They're gonna have to settle with a tier 1 bot, but now you can successfully trade for that T1 mid for T1.
Dire's middle tower has ever been cause for celebration.
T1 mid is much better anyway to T1. Like, that bottom tower is not going to mean anything for this Radiant side. Signal, they'll just take what they can get.
Yeah, T1's hasn't played down bot for a while anyway. Now you've got the Hood of Defiance up on Forev. All that magic damage earlier on is not going to be as strong as you drift into the pipe. Have Miracle's Battle Fury up. So his farm accelerates, his damage shoots up, and the bounties start flying out once more.
Must I repeat myself?
Always errors. Forever, I'm not sure what he called. I guess he tends to be a tower
Tower is being attacked like nobody's business.
Forcing that top tier 2 tower. He gets the call off the bat. He's calling the assets for it. Now to be in trouble. Sun rate is there. The Morphling fighting back for Forever is very, very technical. Now the Jules can't hit. Ice Block misses as well. Unconnect the bridge. They burst down the Phoenix and Miracles. Gonna go after that Morphling. In Your Dream gets the chains off, and they will secure that. Van will continue trying to run away. In Your Dream doesn't appear to be quite done with him yet. Does put that off. Chains though. Another 8 real, and they will have enough damage.
Tower is being subjected to extreme.
The tower, if they want it, is a free tower to be taken. But they don't seem to really mind the tower. Leave it for now. And somehow James ends up killing off Jokan.
Yeah, it's just he had to commit the Poison Nova to drop him low enough. Probably landed Gale as well, but it's a pick off for our Finance, and a lot of X pings from IYD. Not happy that they lost their AA. Still, T1 maintains 5k lead, slowly building up. I think the key timing now is Forev's pipe. Once it's up, just means that all this damage coming out is negated from Signal. They're just not going to be able to burst that act fast enough. And as Forev is alive or alive long enough, the damage is going to be good enough for T1 to clean up.
Looking up now. Paulson will scout that out from the team. This really might lead to nothing. Yeah, Forever on the high ground, waiting to jump in if necessary as well. Wolf's gonna be there on the start, shipping into victory.
Attacked like nobody's business.
The side of T1 kind of stuck around that mid lane looking for an opening. They could have backed down after seeing that smoke, but chose to stick around. And it's not the worst loss in the world losing that Skywrath, but you are giving more bonus damage over that LC.
It's a lot of damage on Van, already at 50 on the LC. Not a bad amount considering the start of Signal. And Signal, while that's not the biggest kill, they would really want to find more. Haven't quite revealed that blink on Eris. You want to get a big team fight going, but they lose that moment, and this does allow T1 to just kind of clump up. Have to be a bit careful. Signal is still together as well.
Bishop gonna be down to forever. Gale does connect. In the green, double chains off. They're just delaying things for Miracle, who does have the B Fury in this BKB. Now we'll just run in from straight behind. Didn't realize he's there. Now gets stumped on.
What happened? What's happened?
T1 will continue to dominate this game. 6k in the worth lead now. Into the Roshan. The call. Signal also have probably no chance of stopping this, but they're gonna try.
It's a bit scary. Oh.
Ice Blast, Eris.
Oh
no. Oh boy.
He had the Blink Echo. They could have played around the pit, but gets caught out. And that's enough. They're not going to be able to contest. First road game will go to T1. And that just makes it a lot harder. Miracle is feeling so confident. You saw him circle the back earlier on. They don't have enough to keep this Morphling in check. Abat is making progress. The Ags does have the Manta style as well to ensure his safety.
Doesn't know that advantage. Egg can be dropped as well in your dream. The egg will soon. He got the stun. Very, very nice play there from In Your Dream.
Ooh.
That was spam just working out for him.
Yeah, really perfectly timed, and they know the egg's down. They smoke up. They can try to force this fight. Just have to be careful about the slam.
T1 feeling very confident. I know Signal Ultra side. That still trying to look towards that angle center on the Morphling. Smoke won't lead to anything. Signal Ultra will be able to get back to their own jungle. Map, but now T1 going to slowly start chipping away at this tier 2 tower.
It's some time bought for Signal, but at the same time, Miracle's flying out his BKB, so you know there's really just no solution for the Ursa anymore. The magic damage coming out is not going to be remotely enough. I mean, on top of that, you've got the pipe from Forev anyway. So all of these tools are available now for T1. Signal, they're really just playing the stall game. They want the Ags on Abat. They've got the Shaker Morph. It just feels like it's not coming up fast enough.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I don't really seem to have much of a game plan going on here. They're just trying to find what's for a bat. So many counters to that Morphling that all this farm just may not matter. Forever has the pipe up now. That's poison over damage just does nothing.
Dire's structures are
T1
cunningly
gonna start pushing that bottom tier 2 tower.
Radiant's structures looking so Dire's bottom tower is under
They will do
attack.
the same up at top lane. Signal pushing the top tier.
Radiant's top tower
Not the
is
fastest push in the world, but with that tier attack as well.
Dire's bottom tower is
The
under
male
attack.
Discord is also now up in
Radiant's
policy.
top tower has
Oh yeah,
fallen.
all the damage coming out
Surely
from
that
the
was
sky is going to be amped up. I think a tier 1 per tier 2 is not really a trade you'd consider at all. You slowly but surely start to lose control on the map, and since they forced to fortify, this means that if that T1 goes into the high ground, they don't have to worry about that.
Sorry, I just noticed that Dire's bottom tower is
Miracle,
under
and
attack.
he gets started on that bottom tier 3. So coming to defend now. Van, only one there at the moment. Miracle is not backing off, understanding they're still down to that top lane, or top lane.
It would appear
Wait for the
Radiant's
next
top
creep.
tower is
Okay,
under
now.
attack.
The rune of invisibility.
Just keep going. They have to take it back and defend this. Like Van being there alone is not enough. They'll see Eris TP and that'll be it.
I feel like a broken record.
There is a double damage down at the bot lane for them to take. If they so wish, and it looks like In Your Dream is gonna go ahead and bottle that one up.
Yeah, and while all of this time is just kind of being wasted, you see Miracle finishes up the Basher. So he can get the control out if he is given time to focus on the target. And Signal still slipping away. This farm time is favoring T1 massively. They are just about 300 all the way from the Ags. Maybe that Ags on Abat is going to be the turning point. Will the damage coming out from the Morph Shaker be enough? Possibly. Possibly is, but it's not a guarantee.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Does a bit of damage over that T2 mid, does back off again. Signal Ultra stood. I believe they have finished off the Yags now on a bat, but it's. Is it gonna be enough?
I mean, it's good damage. Not sure if it's good enough, but I think they really have to depend on Eris. He just needs to get the slam. The cleanup is going to be super easy, but you have to get that initiation right.
It is mine. I have no reason to lie about such things.
Okay. But now that
Not the best.
again.
Yeah, not the best reveal of that Ags combo, and again, Miracle's just free to shove that Q3 in. Oh, for him.
Its middle tower is under attack.
A lot of damage on Van. He would up dying. Egg being committed as well, Prince. I mean, nothing though. Your dream does take the stun. Now Sunray popping out there. You trying to attack Totem. Oh, getting caught out there.
Work for this. You
Bit of
have
a silly position there In Your Dream, but that'll give Ultra away.
Radiant's
So maybe
middle
it
tower
won't.
is under attack.
Miracle was thinking
Yeah.
about coming back in, but eventually does want to just walk out.
Yeah, it's a bit reckless of
Strange to
IYD to
say,
play around with the egg up there.
Radiant's
Maybe he
middle
wasn't
tower is
aware.
under attack.
Still, good punishment from Signal. Forev did dunk the courier. So I keep forgetting you can actually target the courier with that, which is a bit silly. But he took out Jamesy's courier with dunk, so that's nice. That means the Culling Blade is on cooldown just for a bit. But if they do force this T1, no egg, no slam. Pretty big opening for them.
Now, give that over to Holison, maybe. No, they might even give it over to AA instead. What else are you really waiting for here for Signal? Like, you've got the BKB now being worked on by a bat. It may do good enough, right? Because your main problems are the Ice Blast and the Ancient Seal of the Skyrim.
Dire's bottom tower is
But if you get caught up
attack.
by
Dire's
that
bottom
pull,
tower has
you're not going to have
fallen.
enough time to pop it
If
off.
that's the proper term.
No. The Abyssal's up and running on Miracle as well, so again, all the control in the world onto the Ursa. Getting really tanky to deal with, and Signal, they really just need initiation. They just need a slam to land. With the egg, it's just that the execution has been falling flat. It's almost the same story from game one. They just needed to run their draft in a certain way. They couldn't achieve that. And T1's just slowly building up a bigger and bigger lead. You look at IYD, 2 parts away from the Ags on that Ember Spirit, and he can really start to kick it in about again. And he finds the kill, right? Like, it's an AA. It is worth
Radiant's top
415.
tower is under attack.
Come out actually from Joe Cam, but support AA is not, it's not really an important part for
Red. They did lose there, but that Phoenix is coming up. And Miracle will take care of the egg, but now that runner probably... He does probably see KB, and he's just trying to take me out there. They have caught out the dream with that Fisher, and he will have one remaining left. He does get the chains off first, but Eris will commit the echo, trying to buy more time. In your dream, he's trying to juke this out the best he can. Will remnant off to the cell, but Eris is already there, and now we're back. Does get the kill, and T1 taking what looks like a very, very bad team fight, and it doesn't work out for...
Yeah, Signal just managing to make the most of that mistake from Forev. It was really down to the fact that the call did not land. Eris managed to jump in, get the control off, and that was enough. T1 has to be a bit more careful. They can get feeling confident like that, but they are leading some gold. Back to Signal now. Abbott is building up. Like, he finishes up his BKB in that fight. So your control now on T1 can be mounted on that hit. Morphling still, they can just go for the Roche very easy, and James
has to go off. So they will secure the kill on Jamesy once again. And you've got nades available for that Ursa with the Abyssal Blade, and Miracle is trying to go onto the Agony Scepter as well. T1 might take a bit more time to try and work towards that axe on the
I
Ursa.
am required to point out that Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Yeah, I think if they stall that out for the Ags on the Ursa, you're gonna have the Ags on IYD up and running as well. Gonna be key to have that additional mobility and potential damage coming out. You start to look at Forev, you know, this is the point where the axe does start to feel a bit less tanky until items fly in. He is saving up for the BKB. That would be useful. I think you have to start considering the physical damage coming out here from Signal. Van is starting to hit like a truck. So is Abbat, of course. He has been with the Ag, so maybe something to counteract that. Maybe Lotus Orb really just to keep yourself safe there, although.
Miracle trying to go for the Abyssal, doesn't quite get there, and Eris was out with the Fisher anyway. We just aren't quite interested in taking the fight. They are picking up the top lane. They want to go after Jamesy again.
Tricky now. Does have the Aeon disc up and running, so there is a grace period for Jamesy. Can be a bit of a surprise for them if they do commit to the Venno anytime soon.
Has that ever been cause for celebration? Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
T2 tower as well, Signal Ultra. Still pings coming out on Jamesy, just trying to catch that Venno out, but Miracle has been kind of left alone here. He will leave that Dire jungle for a bit and go back to the scene again. Support kill on Polison.
Not even a contest.
And Team 1 gonna back out. Bishop connects now, they're gonna catch Joe Cab. No, he gets the gun cake and now Abyssal Blade. Miracle trying to go after Van, does pop the blade. It could be there as well. They can't really take this team fight like this Team 1. They have to back up, but a bat ends up dying to In Your Dream. Just off the map. And now Jamesy has been left alone. The ball, and this is going to be there, but it will not matter. James will eventually die. Meanwhile, In Your Dream, still dying now. He has his axe up. He will go after the LC Van. Trying to run away. Change what actually lost. Now Echo being committed by Eris. He will get the Aegis of Miracle. But this will cost him the 5, I believe. Yeah, he gets checked. Miracle will get the back on Eris.
Yeah, it's they do take the Aegis out. That's still a bit of a win, but again, you saw IYD's Ags. You've got Miracle's Ags to contend with as well. And Miracle still has the cheese. Still a lot of sustain. Miracle's just running up into the high ground trying to find someone, but Should just go for the tier trees.
Dire's middle tower
Or just go for the troll. There you go.
Was being pulled in, but they won't react quite fast enough. They do have the bot lane exposed. It's kind of interesting they go for the mid tier 3 instead. Of course, that's where the creep wave was anyway.
It's gonna be a bit of a slowdown. I think they probably want some mana in Jokam as well. He's pretty low, can only cast a couple of his spells. We haven't really seen the best Ice Blasts recently. You start to depend on that to mitigate the output of Signal, so maybe give Jokam some time to just regen up before trying to force again. They are just going to take control of the high ground.
Jamesy. How's the shot going to connect? They don't really want to make the jump. They don't know where anywhere. They don't know where the other guys are. Signal Ultra, they are smoked behind them. Going down to Jokam. Nailed it on Cross Miracle, getting the stun off the ball. Does end up going down again, and now they are going to lose the LP. Echo is there from Eris, but is it not too late? Jamesy, can he have jumped on as well?
Oh, no.
The egg out, just one by one.
That's not it. That's not how you go in. Like, you find 2 kills, great. You lose the rest of your team, you lose a bot who unceremoniously just gets stunned down. And now T1, they could go for the exposed racks, they could transition to the mid. The creep wave is a bit behind, so you might see a couple of the respawns come out, but no egg, no slam. Still a massive opening for T1 to get that damage in.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
They go. Go down first, T1, they will of course go ahead and be exposed to the goal.
There are more
No buyback being expended. They know that this rack is definitely dead.
Dire's bottom barracks has fallen.
And Miracle again still has that cheese. He still has the cheese.
Try for the T3 tower.
Is under an extra
About 5 seconds to respawn, but the fire spirits do come out, and that'll be enough for them to just let that go. It's time to back off.
Yeah, I do like the item build-ups coming out from T1. You look at IYD, he's going for an Aeon Disc. You look at Paulson, he's going for an Aeon Disc. You already have the Aeon on Jokam. They're just preventing themselves from being bursted by a bat. Want to be immediately blown up. I think if they can ride that out, they can apply their control, and that's what we're starting to see. There you go. One more Aeon Disc on the board for Paulson. So it's just IYD saving up for his. And I think that's going to be it. You're not going to see that in 4EV. Does build a BKB. But they do start to find those tier 4 items. Something like the Shako on the Axe would be nice. Nice for 4EV.
Could be. But bounties are more important. The Phoenix has had the bounty set on his head. Signal. Still just kind of taking their half of the map. Double damage is going to be found out for a bat now, so it's a lot of damage out of this Morphin. It's so ridiculous seeing that enchant totem double damage on Morph.
They've left a tier 4 item behind. Come on, pick it up, Eris.
Dire's top tower is being
No,
attacked like
pick it up.
nobody's business.
No,
Oh, no.
no one wants the Havoc Hammer. That's
okay.
nice. Yeah, it's pretty nice, right? Like 18 strength is nice and 30 damage and a bit of a knockback's always good. Still, just ticks away at the tier 3s. I'm just gonna stare at this Havoc Hammer every now and again if it stays in that ground.
We jump onto Forever. He's been gimmicked up. Roshan is going to be up. Of course, they do scout it out with the courier, so it's time for T1 to go back into that Roshan pit, secure that Aegis cheese, and the refresher shard will be available as well.
Yeah, this can be really nice to have. Not sure if you really want to get refreshed. In this case, it's all kind of even. I'd say maybe Policy with the Ancient Seal is really good. Double Silence is nice, but anyone can really pick it up. And
Danger. Aeon Disc going to pay off. He will be able to get out of there. They are just playing a bit of a waiting game here with T1. It's a matter of who wants to make the first move, and T1 will be the ones who have to do it.
Fire's top tower is under attack.
Miracle not going to waste any time. They'll start forcing down that tier 3 tower. Flying out now, they do something to do it. They have to pull out the axe for it and end up going down. But a bat goes down as well. Now Ares going to commit a one-man hitter. Miracle just going in the fountain, or not the fountain, but the base. Ares ended up dying on the Earthshaker. Now he comes in your dream trying to get them before they get towards that fountain. He does get Jamesy. At least the Aegis does end up dying. So Miracle won't have that secondary life. He does have the refresh shot up now.
Like nobody's
With the enemy chapter, mind you.
in a stunning development.
Nullify on the way as well. Slowing down Miracle's attacks so much. As he finds Van will get the kill, but will die for it. Now in the dream, gonna jump in after Jamesy. And this will proc, and
What
looks like
did
they
you learn?
at the side of T1. Jokan's gonna be in trouble. Should end up dying here on the AA. And will eventually. Eris will pick it up on the earth.
Barracks are under attack.
yeah, some pretty good punishment coming out from Signal. They didn't have to expend too many buybacks for that as well. T1 just a bit reckless once more. Don't have buyback gold
Never refuse
on
to give.
Miracle, as he did buy out the Nullifier in the middle of that, so gonna have to wait for another opportunity to go high ground still. They maintain a 25k net worth lead. Slowly but surely chipping away on the high ground here from Signal, and Signal's options are starting to grow limited. You look at Abad saving up for the Satanic. It's not going to be the fastest build up for him, but once that's up, of course, allows him to man fight. Okay, yep, got a lot of no. Ah.
Get the kill Perez. You just keep letting your pos one die like this. Perez is gonna BKB TP up. Oh, it's just not good.
Definitely not. That's I mean, he has no buyback because he just doesn't have gold. So T1, whatever space Signal could have had from that defense is taken out. They can't farm on their biggest core. They can farm on everyone else. Van is trying to save up for the Heaven's Halberd. It's just that, well, he's not gonna have buyback gold either way. You look at James, he does have the Ags up, so there's more damage on that Nova, and it does have a lower cooldown. Issue is BKBs have been up, and again that pipe is up and running as well. The value of that Ags Poison Nova is, you know, it remains to be seen if it will really shift the tides here for Signal.
Continue to just try and find a way up that high ground. They've got a 28k net worth lead. Kind of ridiculous how far ahead they are. DOTA Plus is saying they have a 96% chance of winning this game. Now, high ground attempt again. Miracle going to start forcing in that tier 3 tower. We'll back off for a bit. Now call in from Fred. He's going to drag Aris over. will be fine. Maybe not. Not if you agree with that.
Dyer's top barracks has fallen.
Yeah, it's been a rough 2 games for him. Without that slam, it is a bit of an opening. Miracle's just been really conservative with high ground. I think without that Axel, Van.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm coming.
Right, they isolate Miracle. He does pop the cheese.
That he does. That is in trouble though. And does not find Miracle, and he will go down there. Eris comes with the echo, but it is probably not going to be enough, as they have already lost that morphling, and they are losing everything else to begin with as well. 3 heroes down with that buyback on Signal Ultra. T1 gonna finish off that top rats.
Yeah, they should just find all their acts. There's really nothing stopping them. No buybacks, no egg, no slam, no nothing. And I don't think the tier 4s are going to be defendable as well. There's really just not much to fear anymore.
Shane's gonna come out of the Phoenix. He did get to the fountain beforehand.
If you're just
Make a creeps. Dyer's coming in, but
Dyer's middle barracks are under
no GG call is being made. They're gonna try and maybe fight this out one last time. In all fairness, they do push towers very, very slow on the side of T1, which is strong. It'll take a while, but they're gonna get started in tier 4s now. Dagon being brought up by India Green for some reason.
I feel like a broken record.
Not enough damage.
He does have the refresher shot, so he can, in theory, Dagon twice.
An extraordinary amount of
That's pretty cool.
cunning or perhaps of desperation.
I mean, it's not going to be there for forever. It's coming up again. Eric's going to jump in and well. Trying to go off the bridge. Miracle just happy to do with Eris, and now the Mystic Flare going to fall on Van, and Van is going to die as well. Depression, all remnants up, going into a bat, but he will be keeping time. And Miracle may actually die in the south and dance.
Oh, Miracle.
But the base is completely surrounded with creeps from the Radiant side. The bat try gets caught straight away. Now you have plenty of damage out. Forever dunk on him. One last hit. It's not going to matter though. That will get destroyed as well. And the dude has been caught now by Signal Ultra.
Yeah, T1. Yeah, T1 again continuing their win streak over Signal Ultra. Signal Ultra not quite breaking out of their slump here in BTS Pro Series Season 2. Not a single win yet. So look to them to try to rectify that down the line, T1.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on